Welcome to the Average Nobody's Podcast, the ultimate home for wrestling enthusiasts, beer drinkers, movie quoters, and pop culture connoisseurs. Here are your hosts, Matt and Ryan.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Average Nobody's Podcast. My name is Ryan Fogarty.
Hello, I've never given a name.
I was never given a name. I understand nothing.
Episode 36.
Episode 36.
Nice.
Creeping up on 40, which is the...
I don't think anyone's ever done 40 episodes of a podcast.
I believe that's the hay year, right? Isn't it like, 10 is silver, 20 is gold, 30 is whatever, 40 is hay, right?
Like horse hay?
Yes, like the traditional gift would be a bale of hay for our 40th anniversary of the podcast.
Really goes downhill the longer you...
yeah, gold, platinum, hay. It goes really...
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you for this hay.
You don't see a lot of recording artists, like when they do their Cribs episods, they show their platinum and gold records, but you don't see the hay record.
You don't? I think maybe that's in the outtakes. It's in the basement.
or quite possibly doesn't exist. That might be the other thing as well.
That sounds more likely.
Hey everybody, so you know us. We're the Average Nobodies. We have a blog, AverageNobodies.com. We're on Twitter, @AverageNobodies. We're on Instagram, @AverageNobodies. You can search The Average Nobodies on YouTube. You will find us. Subscribe to our channel. It's where all of our podcasts live, as well as on iTunes and Stitcher and all of our other videos, like Drinker with Class. So, let's, you guys know that you should call in and leave us a voicemail, 401-285-8120. We talk about TV shows. We talk about a lot of different things, but if you want to call in and just talk to us about anything we talk about on the show, ask Ryan how his day's going.
Yeah, it's usually pretty bad. Things aren't going well. Today I had to get a new washing machine. The original one, I believe the saying is shit the bed, which is weird because I guess it kind of makes sense because you think about it. If a human shits the bed, right?
Yeah.
Like if a human being shits in the bed, that's it. You're replacing that human. You did.
Yeah.
You're at the end of your rope. Things aren't going well. So I guess if a washing machine figuratively shits the bed, you should get a new one.
Yes.
Which I did. The good folks at Home Depot. It took them 9 days to deliver it, which is not ideal when you don't have a washing machine.
No, it's not great.
But I also, and every time something like this happens, I always think back to what did people used to do? I know they didn't always have washing machines, so people would just hand wash their clothes and hand dry them and all that stuff. But it's oh, what a pain in the ass. What if it's winter? Do your clothes just freeze on the clothesline?
Yeah, that's it. It's over. It's over for your clothes.
But so the washing machine was delivered today, and we've joked about creating a moving company where we would just move people from home to home or whatever it may be. But the three guys who delivered the washing machine had this harness contraption that was amazing. And I guess I was telling Holly about it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's what moving people do." I'm like, "You just scout out moving people? How do you know about this?"
Apparently, we're not ready to open our moving company then.
No, because I'm literally just pitching. I'm like, "Oh, this washing machine's heavy. These guys are gonna have to come in and carry it with their hands." And, obviously, there's another way.
Was it the straps that goes on the person's wrists?
No, so it was like a harness. So you just put it over your shoulders, almost like a backpack.
Yep.
So it goes over both shoulders, and then there's this stretchy elastic type material that's probably about a foot wide that connects you to.
Okay.
So we'd be standing face to face, and you just put the washing machine on this elastic thing, and you're both wearing the backpacks, and you just walk with it. I mean, it looked like they were carrying a 5-pound washing machine.
That's awesome. That's
and it was cool too because I'm like, oh, they're gonna ruin the rug and my hardwood floors, and nope. It took them 10 minutes to move the old one out, put the new one in. So if we ever do start a moving company, we gotta do some research on this transport thing.
I will have our best guys on it. I will have them research.
Do we have guys?
We do have guys. It's my cat.
Oh, Batman.
He's my best guy. I'm gonna let him know about it right after this, and we'll have him look it up.
He's very dependable.
He is very dependable. I just for those of you who haven't been listening to us for a long time, our moving company's slogan was, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was hire us to move your stuff. we might get your stuff to your house. It'll happen eventually. Is like the slogan, right? Is that what it was?
I think it was. It'll get there eventually. You know. If you're in a rush, we might not be the guys for you. You know, if you need like a speedy move in, I can just tell you right now, you're gonna be very disappointed.
Very disappointed.
And it was funny. One of the guys came out. He's like, "Hey, I have your washer." When I was talking to him, so then he was like cooking it up in the house, and I was just waiting outside. And the second guy came out, so I'm like, I'll make some small talk. And I was like, "Oh, did you guys have to, do these deliveries and stuff the last 2 days because it's been so ridiculously hot?"
Yeah.
And just immediately, no inglés. And I believed him, but isn't that a great tool to have?
Yeah.
Like if you're just like not in the mood for small talk, I mean, I can't pull it off.
Usually my go-to, if I'm not in the mood at all for small talk with anybody, I put my headphones in. You put in earbuds. Like when I was walking around Austin for South by Southwest this year, they have a pretty aggressive homeless population, but by aggressive I mean there's a lot of them, but as well as they are very like they'll come right up to you and start talking to you and like touch you and shit. So it's uncomfortable most of the time.
Yeah.
But if you have headphones in, they leave you right alone because you can just pretend like you didn't hear them. But with headphones, they can always come up to you and be like, like talk through it and make you take them off. But with not being able to speak the same language, I mean, great. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, then I was like, well, should I say like agua, for water? And I'm like, you know what? Let's just
let's just stop right there.
Yeah, let's just stop right there. But the thing with the headphones is some people are not deterred by the headphones.
No, yeah, I mean it's
going.
It's the only card I got. It's the only card I got, man.
Yeah,
I do not want to actually talk to these people face to face. I don't want to do that. That's too much work. So if the headphones fail, that's it. I got to make small talk.
I mean, I like that. You got to play the card you have and hope for the best.
It's the only card I got. I only speak one language, and unfortunately, it's the common language around these parts.
It is. It's one you just got to kind of make conversation with.
English. It's very unfortunate. Speaking of language barriers, our good buddy Dennis Rodman, and by good buddy, I've never met him before, but he seems like he'd be a nice guy.
Yeah, he married himself. Right?
That's how you know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like if he wore a dress and a wedding dress.
He at least wore a wedding dress. We know that for a fact. So
yeah,
seems like a real fun guy, and so does Kim Jong. He thinks he's a real swell guy.
Guy who cuts his own hair.
So correct me if I'm wrong here. So did he go and visit Il as well, like the father?
I don't think so.
Was this is a new thing, right? This is like he's just buddies with Kim Jong Un.
I think Il died a while ago. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like it didn't seem like long ago, but I remember when he died.
Yeah,
I remember when like
2011.
Okay, because I was like Kim Jong Il, like that rolls. It used to roll off the tongue really good, and I'm like Kim Jong Un. I'm like
just ending with the un. It's
yeah,
like,
but now it's just like normal, and I totally forget that like, that he there was an Il there, not an Il. But what is the deal with Dennis Rodman, and like, what is the obsession? First of all, I guess the first question I should ask is not why the obsession, because that makes total sense. These two are maniacs,
right?
But who is it? A mutual thing? Is it like Rodman loves to go to North Korea? Is it also Kim Jong loves to have Rodman there, or is it one? What do you think? It's like one or the other, and Rodman's just like too scared to like be like, nah, man, I ain't going to North Korea.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like something where you shouldn't do it. Like Dennis Rodman strikes me as the type of person who it's like, hey, Americans aren't welcome in North Korea. Like, this guy's constantly threatening us with nuclear war. So go, yeah, well, I'll go to North Korea. It's like, well, no, no, that's not what we were saying. You don't have to go there. But he keeps going. I mean, this is going to be his fourth visit, which is just like not. You can't compare it to anything because who would want to go there? It seems terrible.
It seems like no.
You just live under constant fear of doing anything wrong. I mean, this guy is a maniac, so I wouldn't want to go there. But for whatever reason, he's going, and it's not like a sanctioned. I mean, there's no communication that we have with North Korea as far as government to government.
So it's
which
just
is kind
Rodman.
of surprising because I feel like of all people, Trump would kind of maybe get him. He did praise him. He's like, oh, he's assumed power at a young age. Well, no, his father died, and
It's a little different.
yeah, it's like a monarchy. Like he didn't like.
Yeah.
It's not like he won these popular election. I mean, it's a little different, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. I just don't. I think being insane is really just like an unspoken language. Like it's like magnets. They're just drawn to each other.
They're big weird haircut guys.
They are.
So-
I mean, Dennis Rodman was like the OG of. It wasn't necessarily. Yeah, I guess it kind of was haircuts. I mean, he always had like a shaved head, but
yeah, he always had weird. I mean, it was always against the grain, literally and figuratively, with his haircuts.
the Worm. What an interesting nickname.
I always forget that's a nickname. That's so funny. What a fucking nickname.
And it blows my mind too because he's actually like this amazing. Like he's gonna go down as one of the best rebounders in NBA history.
Yeah.
Won a bunch of championships, and now he's like our unofficial ambassador to North Korea.
I don't hate it either. I mean, it's not like it's really strange that it's him, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Like at least there's somebody that can go get through the King Jong. Like at least there's somebody that can, I mean, maybe if like his fingers hovering over the nuclear launch button, like maybe we just send Dennis Rodman over there and they hang out. And when they hang out, like when he goes and visits, it's not like he just goes and visits North Korea. Like he's hanging out with Kim Jong Un.
Oh yeah,
He's hanging out with Kim Jong.
he's. I feel like he's got his air, and Kim Jong strikes me as the guy who, who would kind of listen to Dennis Rodman blindly.
Yeah, and do you think that Rodman has made an attempt at all to learn the language?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
never, right?
But I also don't think he speaks English. I think he just goes in and it's as offensive as possible.
Yeah, he's
Just
like
making sounds.
Yeah, you'd think like after like this. You said this is his fourth visit.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so you'd think with like being the fourth visit, he would have like some grasp of the culture, but he just like is like one of those like people that go to another country and instead of just speaking normally and tried to explain themselves, they just speak louder to try and make them understand.
So. It's like, oh, that's why he doesn't understand me.
Yeah, it's like when you go.
Enough.
It's like when you go up to a blind person and you just speak louder instead of. It's like, well, they're not deaf.
They're not deaf.
They're not deaf. They just don't speak your language. The Worm, Mr. The Worm.
So now we know Dennis Rodman goes there, but say he falls out of favor with Kim Jong Un.
Okay.
And Kim Jong Un won't speak to any government representatives. He won't listen to the president. I mean, who are you sending at that point?
I think you have to send another athlete. I don't know who it would be, but if it seems like that I think that he likes Rodman because he's an interesting character, but also because he's kind of an American. I mean, this is how out of touch North Korea probably is with American culture, but he seems like an American hero to North Koreans. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he's an NBA player. Like
Yeah.
there's basketball all over the world, but the pinnacle for basketball is in the United States.
Yes.
There's not that doesn't. It's like that and MLB really are like the sports that are played around the world, but America is like the mecca for those two sports. If you think about football is not really played everywhere. American football.
No.
Right.
And like I feel like people don't respect American football, like countries that like rugby and stuff. It's like,
Sure.
Rugby's better. Rugby's tougher. Rugby's better.
Yeah.
But
But if you're
basketball, there's no really equivalent to basketball anywhere else.
no, there is basketball. Like they know the game basketball. Like, it's in Europe, it's in China, it's in Japan.
Not as good.
But it's not as good. Like the NBA is the NBA, and like the same thing with Major League Baseball. Even though most of the really good players are from like the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico, but America
But a
is like
lot of European countries do cricket, so
Sure.
they might think cricket is more appropriate. But basketball, like you said, is just basketball.
So I'm thinking another basketball player maybe, but I'm trying to think of like someone that's like just like on Rodman's level. You probably need to send someone from his era. Like any of the new guys, I don't think would be able to do it.
No. I have to send out. The only person I could think of who it would be like a Kevin Garnett,
Sure. Yeah.
who's not as flamboyant, but is clearly something's going on.
Yeah.
Just, I feel like he'd just go there and talk to himself with his head banging against the wall. We kind of get whatever we want.
Garnett's really good. I honestly, this might be kind of insane. I might send Allen Iverson.
Hey,
I might
That's
send
a good
AR.
pick.
I might send the question. The answer. The answer.
that's a question.
The question.
He just comes out like a Riddler with question marks.
Oh God, it's late. It's late. Paul Pierce is the truth, and Allen Iverson is the question now.
The question.
Okay.
Any questions? That's his catchphrase.
David has pumpkins.
David
Any
has pumpkins.
questions? Yes.
I like Allen Iverson. I think he's, there's definitely something to be said about like someone who looks like Rodman with all the tattoos, and I mean, he doesn't have as many piercings on his face, but who does? I don't think anybody does.
Before we move on, just speaking quickly back to Rodman and how he's going to go down as like one of the best rebounders in the NBA.
Yep.
I remember I was watching. Do you remember the show Pros versus Joes?
Yes.
So he was on one of the first episodes, and I remember they had this challenge where I think it was free throw length away from the basket. It was a treadmill, and you had to walk on the treadmill and shoot free throws. I don't think he missed one. It was the most amazing thing that I ever saw. Like, I mean, on that show at least. It was incredible.
Think Dennis Rodman missed one?
What?
You don't think Dennis Rodman missed one?
No, yeah, Dennis Rodman didn't miss one. He was the pro that the Joe went up against, and it was out of all the challenges. Like I forget who else. Like there was a golfer, there was a football player, there was a baseball player hitting like they were doing a home run derby. But Rodman was the most dominant dominant pro out of anybody that was on there. It was amazing. He was. I remember that was the last time I saw Rodman play basketball. He was amazing. He was ridiculous.
He really is. He's just like an anomaly.
He's a freak.
Existing in his own universe.
Yeah, totally. But speaking of sports,
I mean, it's getting into almost NFL training camp time. I mean,
can't wait.
I can't believe we're already in mid-June. 2 months from now, they'll be playing preseason games.
You know what training camp means, right?
Huh?
You know what training camp means, right?
What does that mean?
That means the Bucs are going to be on Hard Knocks soon.
That's right.
Yes.
When is that?
August. Yeah,
August?
I think it starts in August.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't
so
wait for football.
excited.
I mean, I'm a big baseball fan. I think I'm in the minority where I could literally just watch every Red Sox game I can. But, the NBA finals are over. Stanley Cup's over. It's like, all right, let's get to football. I want to start doing my fantasy prep.
Yep.
And now, I mean, some of these guys are apparently coming into camp in good shape, or what they consider good shape. Because, and I'm assuming this must have been going on for a while. Like, this can't be the first year this ever happened, but this is the first year where it's kind of getting publicized.
Yeah.
And it's that players have all these, like, weight bonuses built into their contracts.
Yeah.
So, like, Eddie Lacy weighed in at under 250 pounds, got a $55,000 bonus.
That's remarkable.
And then there's an offensive lineman for the Titans who got I forgot what he's a bigger guy. He's an offensive lineman, but he weighed in at under so the limit for him was 320 pounds. Okay, I mean, now look, I know these guys are not 5'11", 6
Yeah, they're not little. Yeah,
but still, he made $150,000 just for being under 320 pounds.
That's amazing. I have two. When I saw all these things coming out first, Eddie Lacy and shit. I had two thoughts. One was, yeah, this makes total sense. Like, throw money at these guys. For the most part, somebody's gonna, watch their weight even the littlest bit. I mean, it's not like they're making them be in perfect shape, like zero body fat to get this money. It's like Eddie Lacy, under 250 pounds. For a running back, you probably should be under that. I don't care if you're a bruiser or not. Like, even the biggest running backs were like 220.
And he's been getting hurt because he's been out of shape.
Yeah, so it makes sense. Like, throw the money, make them stay in shape. It'll be a good motivator. The flip side to that coin, is it fucking bizarre that you need to pay athletes to stay in shape for a sport that they fucking play for a living? Is that fucking crazy?
It is.
That's like me. I work in social. I would do social media, right? I'm a social media manager. That's like me going to work every day. And they're like, hey, Matt, listen, like, we really appreciate you coming in every day, but we will give you a bonus if you actually do your job and just not sit at your desk and eat Cheetos.
No, yeah, it'd be like,
it's
Matt, put out 5 tweets a day and we'll give you an extra $100 a week.
Yeah, it's that's my job.
Who cares what the tweets are about? Type out the alphabet.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, they're not asking him to be at, like, a body fat. They're not asking him to go on a diet. It's, like, literally just step on a scale and be this number or under, and we're giving you all the money.
It just shows like what kind of like, I mean, you as an athlete that this is your living, like you should want to be in good shape to make your team the best it possibly could be. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a good way to keep them on track, but also it's like unnecessary money that the organization probably has to be paying. That's just my thought.
The only reason I don't have a problem with it is because these owners and stuff make so much money that, you know what, if someone's gonna dole out an extra $50K, I don't really care if it's these billion-dollar owners. But at the same time, it's like the standard you're setting. This is going to get dangerous. Like people are going to start asking for more and more money and for doing less and less.
Yeah.
Like pretty soon it's going to be like, oh, you're under 500 pounds. Here's $1 million.
Yeah.
What?
It's one thing, like it's like I remember when like in like performance incentives started being big. Like that's something totally different. Like
Yeah,
if you
because
throw this
you're actually doing like an exceptional job.
Yeah. Which
Not
actually
just
should be,
existing.
which honestly should actually be the real motivator. I mean, you should say Eddie Lacy, hey Eddie, if you score 22 touchdowns this year, we'll give you $55K. Like, and he'll be like, all right, I got to be in good shape to do that. If
That's
he's
the thing,
smart.
yeah. Like, when did we jump from performance-based incentives to literally just being a weight? Because he could be 250 pounds and like have a broken leg, or literally be 250 pounds now, and by the time the season starts, who's going to say he's not going to gain 100 pounds?
Yeah, the same guys.
I mean, I don't see this helping the team that he's at a certain weight.
Yeah,
It also doesn't mean he's in shape. He could just be 250 pounds
Oh,
of
yeah.
nothing. He could cut his leg off.
yeah, or just like throw up before the weigh-in. Like the same guy that you're paying not to eat Taco Bell. I can't really trust him to be. You have to be weighing him every week if this is the case to have him keep that money. Like, you know what I mean? If the same guy you're paying to stay under a certain amount of weight is not going to be that weight when the season starts.
Absolutely not.
So that's just how that goes. And then the big news from today.
Just happened a couple hours ago.
The massive news, actually, is Mayweather versus McGregor. It's happening. Boxing
Match. Which, I mean, I'm gonna watch it. Like this, I have to watch it. It's just gonna be a spectacle. It's in Vegas, and the cool thing is, it's I think Showtime is doing the fight. I think it's being like produced or organized by Mayweather's company, of course. God, I can't imagine how much money he's gonna make for this.
It's gonna be
It's gotta be the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, more than he made with Pacquiao.
He makes $100 million a fight, doesn't he? Anyway.
Yeah, he does. That's like a normal fight.
It's crazy. That's insane.
But the cool thing I was reading is that, I don't know if you remember Mauro Ranallo. He was an MMA guy, and then WWE hired him.
I don't. The name doesn't ring a bell.
He did SmackDown for a little bit, and he ended up quitting. He left just because the schedule is just too tough.
Yeah.
But Showtime is putting on the fights, and he has a contract with them. He's a wonderful announcer. He's just like a ton of passion. You know, really gets you pumped up for fights. He did a great job in WWE.
Okay.
And he's been doing MMA forever, but he's signed to Showtime, so I kind of hope he does the fight. They'd be crazy if he doesn't do it. He just is like the perfect mix of knowledgeable and like, you know how like you get pumped up for Jim Ross looking a wrestling match. That's what he can do for MMA fights.
Okay.
So he makes like decent MMA fights good, and these type of fights just like spectacular. So I mean, I'm gonna watch it either way. I think it's gonna be such a waste of time though.
Yeah.
It's going to be McGregor trying to hit Mayweather and not being able to catch him. And, you know, because it's a boxing match. If it was MMA, it'd be one thing. But, again, like, Mayweather's not going to agree to an MMA
No
fight.
way. You can't do that either. Like, that's a totally different animal. That's not... Yeah.
Now he's talking about submissions and all that other stuff. But, I mean, I think it'll be cool. I'm going McGregor. I'm sorry, I'm going Mayweather.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, no, I'm going Mayweather.
Literally
too.
just went against my whole point.
I'm going Mayweather too. He's gonna be way too fast for McGregor. Yeah. McGregor is. I mean, he's strong and he can strike hard, but I don't think he's even gonna land a punch.
No,
not
solid.
No, and Mayweather's not a knockout guy, but he'll
just jab him and move, jab and move, jab and move.
And everybody's like, well, when everybody says McGregor has a powerful punch and he's also fast. But yeah, he's fast. But in MMA, he uses kicks to get in close. There's no way he's just going to be able to, with his footwork, unless he's like completely changes how he fights, he's going to be able to waltz in and just hit Mayweather and knock him out. There's no way.
Which he shouldn't if he plans to keep fighting UFC, because you don't have to really worry about getting knocked out by Mayweather, I don't think. If he can take punches from some of these MMA guys, like I don't think he should.
Yeah.
I would just hope for the best if I'm him, because if you want to continue fighting UFC, you can't switch up your whole mindset and training just for this one fight. But you're getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars anyway. Just get it over with, and then get back to fighting in the UFC. If that's what he really wants to do, who knows?
Yeah, it's not going to hurt either one of these guys.
No.
This fight is it's going to hurt Mayweather if he loses, but that's not going to happen. So,
it's not.
With McGregor losing, it's not going to hurt anybody. It's just going to be a cool draw. It's going to be a cool show. I'm sure they'll stuff the card with the other, I'm sure they'll stuff it with other fights that are like shit, but everybody's going to buy it for the Mayweather-McGregor fight. That's what.
Yeah, you'll watch 5 hours of nothing to watch them at 1 a.m.
Yeah. For maybe who knows if it even goes. Maybe Mayweather knocks him out. Who knows?
I'll be watching though. I'm interested. Well, actually, I'm going to Country Fest that day, but
August 26th. Well, I'll be
that.
there. I'm sure that will be. Well, I guess if you're in the concert, you probably won't see it. But August 26th. Yeah, I think I'll be around. Maybe I'll hit up Buffalo Wild Wings. Haven't been there in a while.
Should show up with
Dennis Rodman.
Then Dennis Rodman. Now, in the question.
Yeah, in the question, of course. I gotta talk about their next trip to North Korea. All right, let's get into TV Club. So we got a lot to talk about because we added a TV show. But let's start with Saul. The newest episode is called Fall.
Yes.
Yes, it's right here. Okay. So a lot going on in this episode. Like a lot. We got. I don't know. Where do we start with that? I don't even know what storyline to start with.
So, I mean, the main one was definitely Jimmy. I mean, this was really the first episode since Better Call Saul started where I didn't like him. Like, what he did to that old lady.
That was really
the way
bad.
he conned her, that was just really rotten.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was interesting because for the three main storylines, each of the guys fell in their own way.
Yes.
You know, Jimmy really stooped to this new low. And it was pure selfish reasons. He wanted the money from the settlement.
Yes.
You know, there was nothing like good-hearted about it. He freed this poor old lady. I mean, the things he did, it's genius. But again, this is another example of him using his smarts and his
charisma.
His charisma. Like, you know, even when he was hosting the bingo, I mean, he's got that personality for it, especially for these old ladies. You know, someone like me or you, we're watching that, we're like, oh, this guy's a con artist. He's a used car salesman. But these ladies, they fall for it.
Yeah.
And he really is using it for not good. You know, he's using it for, and it's not, I don't know if I'd call it evil yet, but it's definitely, you know, instead of using it to be like a good lawyer or to try and get back in practice law, he's doing it for a quick buck.
Yeah.
And that was tough to watch. I didn't, not that I didn't like the episode. I liked the episode, but I didn't like how it made me view Jimmy.
I think that the downfall, like kind of like the path to Saul, is from Jimmy to Saul. It started with him basically like fake, like spilling the beans to the insurance company, the malpractice insurance company.
Yeah.
I think that's where it started. I mean, it probably had roots in him taking Chuck down with like the battery in his pocket and everything, but that was also too, like, you know, you had Kim like with him, like, you know, you understand where he's coming from and why he's doing it, but this, like, clearly just to get the money. I mean, there was no silver lining to it for anybody. Like,
at least with those ones, you could always kind of fall back on, you know, he was trying to save his practice, he was trying to, you know, protect Kim. None of those.
This is just him to get money instead of doing something honestly or finding another way to make money. Like, he's trying to, you know, scam the system. He's trying to, I mean, and he's not cheating these ladies out of money. Like, they could have gotten more money, sure, but
who knows how long it would have taken. And
yeah, so like some people can kind of cling to that, but really the way he did it, is so bad, like so heartbreaking. It reminded me of the episodes from The Sopranos where Paulie's mother in the home, like her friends won't talk to her. Like that's heartbreaking. Like these people
is like watching the old ladies. It's like that's all these people have.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, they're
weird friendship.
Yeah, so that was heartbreaking to see.
Now that mall that he meets them in, the mall walkers are walking in,
yes.
Is that the same mall from the Flash Forward?
I can't imagine that it is. It reminded me of that a lot. But if you think about it, that's the mall that he works Cinnabon in, right?
Yeah, it's a different place.
So it has to be a different place because this is, I mean, New Mexico is where he's Saul Goodman.
Right, and then where he turns into, what's the guy's name?
The vacuum cleaner?
Was his fake alias?
Oh.
After Saul?
Yeah, I forget.
Well, that's in Kansas, right? Or Nebraska?
Nebraska.
But it looks very similar.
It does look very similar.
Although most malls like that would look similar.
It could have been shot in the same mall. I mean, honestly, it could have been shot in the same mall.
Yeah, but you know who's insane?
Who?
People mall walkers.
Yes, you're right. That is an insane thing. I don't care what age you are. That's an insane thing, no matter who does it.
Walk outside. I mean,
people walk in malls. It's the thing. I remember when the Providence Place Mall first opened. I remember it was a big deal because they were going to lock the doors after all the stores closed, which makes total sense. Why else would you be in a mall if all the stores are closed, right?
Yeah, that's suspicious.
But they were like, no, we're going to leave the doors unlocked so people can come, like, jogging here. I'm like, jog? Who the fuck is jogging in a mall? Who's doing this at the hours that stores are closed in a mall? Who's doing this from, like, when the last movie gets out at the cinema to, like, 10 a.m. when the first store opens? Like, who's doing that? Who wants
It's very odd.
It's a super odd thing to do. What do you think about Mike? What do you think about Mike's little action in this episode?
I liked it. I mean, he's just, Jonathan Banks is this incredible actor. I loved, and I put it up on Twitter, when he's waiting to meet Lydia, and the guy goes by in the Segway.
Yes.
And, like, the camera wasn't zoomed in on him, but you could definitely feel him roll his eyes, like, oh, God.
Yeah, almost fell out of his head. He rolled him so hard.
And he's definitely still underestimating Gus, though, because when he meets with Lydia, you know, he's like talking about all these different things, and she clearly has all the answers. And then he says, you know, why are you doing all this for a drug dealer? And she says, if you think he's just a drug dealer, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, he's so much more. And we know that. He doesn't know it yet. But I don't know. It was a small scene. It's cool to see Lydia, you know, who's Gus's money launderer.
Yes.
And now we know. Well, I think we did know, but the name of the company is what? Madrigal Electromotive. I think the sign said.
Yeah, that's the one, right? That's the company where the guy like kills himself in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. So, and I mean, clearly they have a ridiculously smooth operation going there.
Yeah.
Because Gus wouldn't just launder his money through any old company. But I liked it. I mean, he was a small part of the episode. I think he's going to be a huge part of the finale next week.
Yeah.
But they definitely really focused, obviously, mainly on Jimmy. And then I think one of the secondary storylines was Chuck, you know, officially falling out with Hamlin, and McGill. McGill is all pretty much no more in that firm.
Yeah.
And then he ends up suing them.
Yeah.
For what, breach of contract?
I really don't like Chuck either at this point. I think he's a real piece of shit.
I read a good article on it, and they were saying that they think Kim has avoided, like, the Skylar White, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, basically,
hatred?
Yeah, like, you know, how people hated Skylar. Even though she's literally just a wife with a one handicapped son and a small baby, telling her husband to not be a meth dealer, but no, how dare she? But I think Kim's avoided that because people have the hate for Chuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't, and I think Kim is just the most morally redeemable character too. She's the one that you really root for, especially now that Jimmy's, you know, really acting up. But I think Chuck, your hate, the same hate that people have for Skylar is going towards Chuck.
Yeah.
And it's tough to blame them. I mean, the guy sits in a dark house all day with a lantern and you know, all he really does is complain about what he used to have and all this type of stuff. And I mean, you can't really blame Howard in the firm for wanting to just, like, especially after what happened in the thing with Jimmy.
Yeah.
In the courtroom.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't blame him for kind of wanting to distance himself from him.
Yeah, absolutely. I see. I mean, I get that. The thing that kills me is like, how can Chuck not realize that he's hurting the firm? Like, how can he not realize he's hurting Hamill McGill? I know he doesn't want to realize it, but even when he not tricks, but what's the guy's first name? What's Hamlin's first name?
Howard.
When Howard goes over to his house to like be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're suing me." Like when he has to like put up that facade that he has like the lights on and he's like cooking, but it's really like killing him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why even do that? Like, why lie to yourself? Like, you understand you have a sickness. Like, you understand that battery didn't affect you. You know that you're making it up in your head. Why can't but he still seems level-headed, but clearly he's not. Like, he should know that, yeah, this is probably the best move for me. Maybe I'll step away.
I think it's just that, no matter I think a lot of people only, might think it only happens to like celebrities and athletes, but it's like you still think you're in your prime, he still thinks he can practice law, he still thinks he can do what he used to do, and everyone else around him knows it's not the case. And Howard had that great line. He's like, if enough people say you're drunk, it's time to sit down. Like,
Yeah.
I know you don't realize it, but you're not what you used to be, and you can't do what you used to do, and we're trying to help you. Like, this is us being nice. Now he's trying to sue them, so I think nice is kind of out the window for that. That's the one storyline which I wouldn't be mad if it wrapped up this season.
Yeah.
The Chuck and now that Jimmy's moved past it, obviously.
Yeah.
The Chuck and the Howard storyline, it's you just have so much to build on with Jimmy breaking bad, for lack of a better term, but Jimmy really turned into Saul, how that affects his relationship with Kim, Nacho and Hector, Mike and Gus and Hector. I mean, there's just so much to do that storyline could wrap up. And then, I don't know, maybe they could just add another storyline, because I think he's still not Saul yet, but he's getting there.
Yeah.
And then the third big storyline, which I really enjoyed, I really like the Nacho character.
Yes.
He's the guy, his name is Michael Mondo, I think his name is, who plays Nacho, but he's been awesome. And now Hector, with the meeting with Gus, officially kind of fell out of favor with Don Eladio, because Don Eladio likes Gus's methods just so much better, and why not? I mean, as you saw a couple episodes ago, the money's cleaner, the way they use the chicken restaurant is just better. He just everything Gus does is better, and that's driving Hector mad. Yeah,
and I love that part where they're meeting, and he, like, when Don Eladio, is that how you say his name? Don.
Yeah, the main guy.
Yeah, when he was on the phone with them, right? It was him on the phone.
I don't know if it was him.
Or like one of his associates.
Yeah, it was like his go between Hector and him.
Yeah, when he and then after that, like, he explains like he wants all of it going through Gus, and he like breaks the phone, and he hates it, and Gus is like, listen, I don't want this either. Like, I have my own thing going on. I do not want you piggybacked on my thing. Like,
yeah, he would rather just do what he's doing.
Yeah, which honestly probably drives Hector like even like deeper, like hurts his health, because he knows that, like, okay, now this guy doesn't want to, like, he doesn't want to carry me, and like without him I can't do anything, Yeah. Like, he doesn't even want him to do it. So I don't know.
And it's cool, they kind of in a way explain the Nacho Hector, because when Nacho was sitting down at the table with his dad, he said, I'm working for the Salamancas again.
Yeah.
So I think he used to work with them, and then his dad was probably like, look, these guys are bad news. If you continue to do this, then you're basically not my son. I'm kicking you out of the house. So he stopped, worked for his dad, then somehow got back in it, because then the dad kicked him out of the house again.
Yeah.
Which is sad. And, I mean, Hector's obviously not going to come in as a nice guy when he tries to take over the shop or to run drugs through the shop. So, I don't know. I have a bad feeling about that.
Yeah, me too.
With Nacho's dad. I don't think that's going to go well.
No, I don't think so either, which is unfortunate.
It is. And one more thing I wanted to mention. The loyalty for Gus. And I put the little note in because Like you see with Lydia, like when Mike mentions like he's just a drug dealer, and Lydia immediately stands up for him. And even when like Hector visited Los Pollos Hermanos, like those workers were ready to stay, even though Hector's clearly this insane man and he's with these two thugs, and they didn't want to leave Gus. I mean, the loyalty that he gets out of people is really, and obviously eventually Mike becomes that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's just the way he carries himself, and he's one of the best characters. So it's not hard to see, but it's cool to see the beginning parts of it where people still had that ultimate respect for him, no matter what it was, whether it was an employee who worked at the chicken place or if it was people who actually knew who he really was. Yeah. The loyalty didn't change at all, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and like you look back at Breaking Bad too, that episode where he goes to Don Eladio's house, mansion, kills everybody, and then when he has to, like, he has the poison in him, right? So he has to go, and he has that doctor on standby.
Yeah.
And what does the doctor say to Mike, or says to Jesse? He's like, well, he pays my, I don't know, like, doesn't he, like, put his kids through school or something? Or
something like that, yeah.
Right? I mean, but clearly this guy, like, even though he's probably already paid through Gus, like, he already has his money, like, he wants to save Gus's life because, he's not just some guy getting paid by a drug dealer. It transcends that.
It does.
Yeah, and that's right. I mean, that goes for everything. That goes for the people who know him in the business that he's actually in, and also the people that know him as the chicken guy. So, yeah, has a lot of people on his back, and for the most part, he has the DEA at his behind his back for the majority of Breaking Bad, at least.
Yeah, because like sponsors the cops, and like Hank loves them.
Yeah, I was gonna say bringing chicken over to the police station really gets you a long way in New Mexico.
Not a bad move.
Not a bad move.
So what'd you get out of the final scene? Like, was Kim just distracted?
Yeah, that was wild. I think she's been distracted. I think that whole scene with her car being stuck first, like the when she leaves that guy that owns the oil company.
Yep.
I think that was I wish I was, more clever that I could figure out the actual meaning behind it. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like, it was kind of like that was the start of, like, okay, things are not going to go well. Even though she handled the situation well, so this is what Kim does. She's very smart. She assesses the situation. She gets the pieces of wood. She gets her car out of the hole, but then the car almost runs down that oil pump. And she has to stop it right at the last second. And I think now she's officially in over her head, and her getting into that accident shows that. And, like, the chaos that ensues afterwards with the papers flying everywhere.
I feel bad.
I do feel bad for her. Because she's doing it for Jimmy.
Right.
She picked up that extra client to help Jimmy out. And now, Jimmy couldn't give a fuck. Like, really, he stormed in.
He wanted to celebrate scheming.
Yeah, he wanted to celebrate him getting money when she's rushing out the door to handle this case that she probably shouldn't be taking in the first place, and that she doesn't need to be taking in the first place to help him. So, just another slippin' Jimmy example.
It is. And then there was the fall, and the finale is called Lantern next week, okay. which you'd think just right out, without knowing anything, would kind of signify a Chuck episode.
Yeah.
Because of how much he uses lanterns, because he doesn't like electricity. But I did notice in the Hector Gus scene, Hector was sitting with a lantern on the table.
Ooh.
I mean, it didn't, nothing happened with it, but I wonder, I don't know.
They are good at taking that episode. Like, this episode was fall, and it wasn't just one person's fall. It was the collective, universe. So,
yeah.
I'm sure they have ways to layer the shit out of this next episode, the finale. I'm excited.
I can't wait.
Me too. So want to talk about American Gods now? We all real go. So listen, American Gods is becoming one of my favorite TV shows.
It's this one was my favorite episode.
So this episode was a prayer for Mad Sweeney, which as soon as I saw it, I was like, all right. I'm on board. Mad Sweeney is one of my favorite characters in the show. And it was literally an entire episode of Mad Sweeney and Laura Moon, the dead wife.
Yep.
I love the flashback. I love the Essie McGowan Flashback. I love I love the mythos behind it. Like I love the stories of the leprechauns and the fairy people and like how America started and like all the people, like what they believed in and how they took these old stories from Europe to America and how everybody has their own beliefs, but it was like, that whole melting pot, cliche that everybody talks about with America. And that's the kind of stuff that melting pot scenario is built on. It's like different cultures all coming together.
Yeah, and I liked everything you just said, but it was cool because Mad Sweeney almost continues to exist because of people like Essie.
Yes.
Because of her belief. And like he says that in the closing monologue, but he's like, you're the reason I'm here.
Yeah.
If you didn't leave out the bread, if you didn't tell stories of us, now in modern times, people think it's silly and they brush it off. But the few who are like you are the reason that I'm still here. And the one thing I was really looking at is like the connection between Essie and Laura Moon, because it's the same actress. It's Emily Browning who played them. And I just wonder, I mean, I'm assuming it's like a descendant or something like that, because Mad Sweeney obviously has some type of connection, and we find out that, he's the one who pretty much saved her after her original accident.
Yeah.
And then he had to put her back together again. Who, Laura Moon, Emily Browning, if you're out there, if you're listening, gotta start wearing seatbelts.
You have to. Number one thing you need to start doing.
I mean, the first accident I kind of understand, I guess. I mean, I don't understand. Yeah, it's not like I'm giving a bunch of blowjobs in cars, but like, it must be tough. You want to have fun in the car. It's like, I'll take my seatbelt off. So you're driving some raggedy old ice cream truck. Come on.
Yeah,
you're being held together by these stitches. Yeah. It's like, you have this metal coin seared into your chest. Maybe put a seatbelt on.
Yes.
Keep yourself in the vehicle.
There's a lot of open-ended, like, there's a lot of things I have questions about here in this episode. Probably most we won't be able to get to because it's a long list. My number one thing is, so we both agree that Essie McGowan is a relative of Laura Moon. We already said that.
Yeah.
We both agree that is.
I think why else would they have the same actress play her?
I totally agree with you, and I think that is the reason why that Mad Sweeney puts the coin back into her chest. Like, he has the opportunity to take his coin and go, but he clearly has some kind of connection to her, right? I mean,
I think he did. I mean, he had to have.
He has to have, and
because like, why is he there? I mean, clearly he's now. Is the Crow Mr. Wednesday?
I think so.
Because the Crow seems to be guiding him.
Yeah. And then what's weird about, he said that it's done, right?
Yeah.
But what was done?
I don't know.
I'm sure.
Because he's still trying to get to Kentucky.
Yes, but he's going to Wisconsin. Where like the big meeting of where's the big meeting of all the gods, like the war or whatever?
I thought it was Kentucky.
All right, maybe it's Kentucky. They're all over the country. I thought it was brilliantly done, the flashbacks to like the story of Essie McGowan, which is a crazy story too to begin with.
It is.
How she was like forced to like be transported, and for like only 7 years, and then she got out of that, and then she got transported again because she was robbing shit, and like, but she still always left time for. And you notice, like, I thought it was cool that she always had good luck when she would leave the offerings for the leprechaun.
Yeah.
But when she didn't, that's when shit went sour for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Because once she stopped believing, and I think the line was, the more abundant the blessings are, the less you feel the need to pray. So the better things got.
Yeah.
For her, especially when she, was rescued and she was turned into quite the shoplifter. Things were going well. She wasn't getting caught. She had everything she thought she needed, and so, why would you be praying?
Yeah.
Why would you be leaving stuff out for leprechauns at that point? You had everything you needed, and then that's when shit will go down again.
Yeah. And then I just want to also touch back on they had a flashback to when she died originally, to when she was with Dan Cook.
Yes.
Robbie. Right, Robbie.
Yep.
So she died. It seemed like that Mad Sweeney caused the accident.
Yeah.
But then it also seems like he's the one that brought her back. No?
Yeah, I mean, I think he did, and I think like that was maybe the only way to bring her back type of way. Like, she had to die.
But if his job was to kill her, because he said the job is done, whatever, right? Doesn't he say something with that flashback? Doesn't he say something to somebody? Like, it seems like he's talking to the Raven again, the Crow, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
he's
know.
Looking up.
Yeah, he says something, right? It's done. But then
He says it's done, yeah.
But then the only logical reason, why else would she have... Well, I guess Shadow leaves that coin. Shadow leaves the coin that brings her back to life on her grave. Yeah. So maybe he just killed her, and maybe he only killed her the first time, and maybe bringing her back this time, he kind of feels like he owes her.
His penance type of thing?
Yeah, maybe, right?
Yeah, because she showed definitely like a different side.
When he did it, when he put the coin back, right? Yeah.
It was like he clearly could have just taken the coin with him and kept his good luck, and that was that, but, you know, he knew. I don't know, yeah.
I think he also knows that obviously he must feel the connection to her relative Essie McGowan, right?
Yes.
They must find, he must feel that connection, so maybe he feels that. But also, I think he kind of knows that his story, his life is coming to an end soon. Like, he talks about how he escaped the war because he saw his death, but he still owes a battle. He still owes a war, and basically, I guess, owes his life. I don't know how leprechauns work, but I guess that's how it works. It's like you have if you have to be in a war, you got to be in a war. You can skip this one, but you got to be in the next one.
So. You got to be in the next one. Yes, and I think he and now because he's gonna fight for Mr. Wednesday, right?
I assume so, right? He's like Mr. Wednesday.
Seems like whatever Mr. Wednesday wants him to do, he does. Like when he showed up and fought Shadow.
Yeah. To
kind of Shadow had to prove his worth type of thing.
Yeah. It brings up also Mad Sweeney. This episode brings up a lot of they do this so masterfully. It was only about Mad Sweeney and Laura Moon for the most part, right? And then Essie McGowan as well, and all those other characters, and a little bit of what's his name, Salim. Yep,
yeah, he was in there for. He had some funny lines in this one though.
Yeah, he did.
You are an unfortunate creature.
He was really good. But they do such a good job. Like, they talk about Mad Sweeney, but it really brings to light other characters. So, him speaking to Mr. Wednesday, we assume, via the Raven, Crow, whatever. I'm not a bird expert. Whatever that is. It's a Raven?
I think it's a crow.
Crow. But now, I'm kind of feeling a darker vibe to Mr. Wednesday. I'm kind of feeling we all know he's not what he seems. Because that's just... We don't know anything about him, so we feel like there's something. We're waiting for the other shoe to drop, but we don't know what that could be. But I'm starting to feel like it's not going to be great. Like it's not going to be. It's probably not going to be fun to be on his. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be fun to be on his side, but he's not the side to be on. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that he's not as powerful as these other gods, like Mr. World. And
definitely not.
Technical boy and all this stuff.
But then again, why else would Mr. World want to convince him to do anything? Like, if they're more powerful than him, why don't they just if he's an old god, why don't they just roll over this guy?
They might. I don't know. They might not have the charm that he has.
I guess that's probably
he's
true.
He's clearly good at convincing people to do things.
Yeah, he has a lot of connections in the.
I think they might use him until his worth is not there anymore, that type of scenario.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting finale. It's nice that they're already renewed for next season, so it's not like, pressure's kind of off.
Is it? How many more episodes is it?
Next week's the last one.
Really? Oh, God damn it! There's so many. I'm glad that Orlando Jones is coming back for the next one.
Yes.
But there's too many characters.
Stealer in the second episode, but I haven't seen him since.
Oh my God, that's still probably the best scene of the series so far.
Yeah,
Of the
that was unreal.
It was so good. I gotta go back and watch that. Actually, I gotta go back while I'm editing this podcast. I'm gonna go back and watch it. But American God's great. What did you think of the new Orange Is the New Black?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't watched yet?
I haven't. No, I
right,
just finished. I just finished Bloodline.
Okay.
But Orange Is the New Black. We're gonna start because I watch with Holly.
All right.
So I couldn't jump ahead.
No worries.
But yeah, I'll probably be done with a couple episodes. Well, I'll definitely be done with a couple episodes Friday night.
So I'm gonna be very forward with you. I know we said watch the first 2 episodes, but I could not do that.
You can't just stop watching that show.
And especially you'll know exactly what I mean when you watch the second one. You'll understand like why there's no way I could have. Like under normal circumstances, I can't possibly just watch 2 episodes of a Netflix show at once. You know what I mean? And like be satisfied. No way. So I watched a little bit further ahead. I did not finish, but I watched a little bit further ahead. So depending on how many you guys watch together, by the time we podcast next, we can just talk about the amount that you watched. Because I'll probably will be all caught up by then. Like I'll be maybe done. But
what I think's gonna happen, because we got the big wedding on Saturday, which I'm very excited for.
Yes, big time wedding.
But I don't want to do anything Friday night. I want to be rested for it. So we're just gonna watch. Like I got my suit today for the wedding. I'm all ready to go.
Hey, look at you.
My plan Friday after work is to just relax and watch Orange Is the New Black, and then Sunday after the wedding and an 8:15 start time for softball. Can't imagine Sunday afternoon I'm going to be too excited to do anything except sit on the couch and watch more Orange Is the New Black. So
yeah,
I think by this time next week I'll probably be finished as well.
Awesome, cool. So maybe we'll just talk the whole season in retrospect. Maybe we'll just do a whole retrospective on the season.
Yeah, because I mean we're going to have the finales of Gods and Saul,
and then gonna be next week's
we could just make this like a whole TV club episode.
I was gonna say maybe the next episode we just all do all TV. We'll really just we can wrap up 3 seasons of TV right here.
I mean that sounds amazing. I can't think of anything better to talk about.
All right, well let's plan for that. So
okay,
if anybody, of course, like obviously we'll play it by ear with Orange Is the New Black, but
yeah,
we'll plan for that right now. If anybody watches these shows and you're gonna be all caught up by the time we release this podcast next week, like Wednesday or Thursday next week, I mean, call in and leave a voicemail and let us know what you thought about this season. So, Better Call Saul Season 3?
Yep.
Better Call Saul Season 3, American God Season 1, Orange Is the New Black Season 5.
Yeah. I know there's people out there that watch all 3. I mean, maybe they don't watch all 3, but there's definitely, people out there. We just want to get a discussion going.
Yeah, definitely.
About favorite characters, favorite scenes, how you interpret things, whatever you want.
Yeah, a lot of the times with these, it's like you got to find a good place to start to talk about these episodes, and it would be great to get other people's opinions. So, 401-285-8120, call and leave a voicemail. It's not a call-in number, so you're not going to be able to talk to us directly, but we will play your voicemail on the episode. So, talk about one of these or all of these TV shows, and we'll talk, or anything else, really. I mean, really anything else. So, call in, please. Call in 401-285-8120.
And we're on Twitter at Average Nobodies, where I like to throw out some polls once in a while of favorite characters and, but really anything. I mean, any conversation we can get going, I'd be happy to talk about because we obviously enjoy watching TV. So if you can get the discussion going and get some like-minded thoughts going, even if you have a different opinion or view on stuff, it doesn't matter. You just want to get the conversation flowing. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Well, this was a good episode. Awesome episodes of Saul and American Gods, and I can't wait for you to see Orange Is the New Black. You're gonna love it.
I'm pumped. I can't wait. I'm glad because we watch House of Cards too. So Netflix just hammered us with that show Bloodline. I think you'd really like. I mean, that's for a different day, but
yeah, I've been told by multiple people about that.
But yeah, I can't wait. Orange Is the New Black starting at Friday, and I'll probably be done by Sunday.
Perfect. All right, man. Well, good episode. So, everybody, thanks for listening. And if you could go over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a little review, say a little something about the podcast, it really helps us out. It helps us rank better in searches. So when people are searching for TV show podcasts or current events podcasts, we're going to show up because we do all that stuff. So
rate us 10 stars if that's a selection.
10 stars. What you can do is you can rate us 5 stars and then create another account and rate us another 5 stars, and that'll be your 10-star review.
And that'll be your penance for all your sins.
Exactly. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Ryan?
Hey, it's been a pleasure. Thanks, Matt.
I'll see you this weekend.
All right.
Later,
Farewell.
guys.